If a man prefers to be bewailed by death than the God, there will be 4 guardians of paradoxical atonement to take heed to. The first, freedom lies with ignorance. The second, darkness lies with fire. The third, peace lies with suffering. And the fourth, doubt lies with knowledge. Each of the guardians of paradoxical atonement have a hidden key to derive meaning from the dark sides of life. Each can be seen in one of multiple ways. One way being that when people are allowed to operate in the limitless parameters of freedom, the possibility of being deceived is there. Another way being that uncertainty itself is freeing to the mind for better or for worse. Another way of being that with freedom may come ignorance, and ignorance that what exactly remains to be understood for better or for worse. That's from my book, The Book of Oldishness. And we are at war, and death is imminent for us all, but this is not a doomsday video. Yes, we are at war. Yes, we need to make quick decisions. Yes, we need to obtain as many resources as possible. Yes, we need to take the situation sincerely, but I don't want to ever think about these things too seriously, because the gravity is it's just too much, and it's just false. You know, there's no breadth of true understanding when it comes to that kind of trying to understand evil, let's say. Because there's so many things going on in the world right now, and life is so hectic. And, you know, I was able to this morning look at the radiance of the golden and red leaves on the trees of the mountains, and I feel like I'm living in a painting, you know. It's just so beautiful. And in some ways I suppose we are, because time, as Plato says, is the moving image of eternity. And you know, I was thinking about Socrates and what he has to say about these kinds of things when it comes to death and when it comes to maneuvering towards something better when there are a lack of virtue in a society. And one of those things that came up was how Socrates said that virtue does not come from money. Okay, money is a byproduct of virtue. And money is loved, and rather lovable, to those that have a good situation and a good perspective with money. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit there, but the reason that I bring up Socrates and such and Plato is because in a couple weeks we're going to be doing the Whispers of a Philosophy King class in the Regal Change Academy. And I'm really excited for that because we're going to be reading the Apology by Plato. And if anybody doesn't know what it's basically about Socrates' trial right before he was sentenced to death. And we can learn a lot about the behaviors of truly living righteously in the face of death. And one of the reasons why I wanted to read that passage from my book was because a lot of people seem to be perplexed by death. A lot of people seem to be perplexed by the evil in the world. And when I started to accept that the only thing that was absolute was good, and that good was God, Jesus Christ, I was very much so relieved. Because even Socrates talks about, justice quite a bit, and how in the Republic, for example, Plato's Republic, he talks about justice for like 4 or 5 chapters, or 4 or 5 books, technically is what they're called, of the 10 to 12 books that are in the Republic. And it's just, we don't think like this anymore, It's like we don't think about things like this. And when you are able to look it through time and you're able to acknowledge the profundity of these thinkers, but they're not really thinkers. They don't really think. They know how to think, but they don't really advocate for thinking per se. They more advocate for just truth seeking more than anything else. They're not trying to think things through. They're trying to seek the truth. And I think that's what a lot of people lack nowadays, is they're trying to, like, they're thinking too much rather than seeking the truth. They're getting caught up in the fear of things and like the fear corn that's going around, and they're not thinking through things. Death is really not that scary. What's scary is you not living the truth. What's scary is you denying reality for what it is, because you have this egoic, perhaps egocentric is a more appropriate term. You have this egocentric view of how you're supposed to see the world, because that's what people tell you. That's what the news tells you. That's what influencers tell you. That's what all these things. And what I'm telling you is something completely different. At least there are people like me out there, but what I'm telling you is something completely and vastly different. It's that it's more about being than it is thinking. And this is something that Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, all these people, they knew. And anybody that's read the Iliad or Homer's Odyssey, then you also know this too, that was really the main point. It's not about thinking all the time. It's not about trying to think things through. It's about being. It's about being at ease with existence, and it's about acknowledging that, yes, sometimes you're going to have limitations, but that shouldn't mean that you should have a limiting mindset. Okay, there's a difference between having a limiting mindset and then having limitations, because it's appropriate for every person to truly know their limitations. Like, for example, I was gonna make a joke, but I don't know if that's appropriate. It's not too bad, but it's just kind of funny. It's like, I can't handle all of the women that want me. Okay, I need only one woman. I don't need the vast amounts of women that are trying to get with me. I don't need them. And look, some of these women are very attractive. Oh my gosh. I'm talking like old Thaddeus, I guess young Thaddeus technically, but past Thaddeus, man, he would have, in a heartbeat, some of these women, he wouldn't have even cared. He wouldn't, God's laws, schmod's laws. That was like my mentality, years and years ago, which is not a good mentality, but that was my mentality. And so I would have that kind of mentality with women if I had the opportunities that I do today. And now that I'm actually trying to live a righteous life, and that I'm living what I'm preaching, I have to literally remove myself from situations in which I may or may not be compromised in my principles and values. I just don't put myself in that position, So I have limitations. I cannot be in certain positions where those temptations are going to occur. And it's also more of a boundary, I suppose, too. It's a boundary. It's not necessarily a limitation all the time. It's a boundary. And I think that we often go through life trying to be things that we're just not. We're trying to do things that, and it's not like you should limit yourself to like, oh, that's not who I want to be, or that's not who I am really. Because in some sense, you can understand like that's maybe not who you want to be, but is it what God wants you to be or God wants you to do? Like, in all of your endeavors, let not your ego interfere with being offended because God wants you to do something. But also simultaneously, don't let your ego and your vanity get so puffed up that you are filled with pride that you go and you fall. Because as the Bible says, pride comes before a fall. And I've learned that the hard way multiple times. Okay. It has not been fun when that's happened. And it keeps me humble in a way that I know who I am. And again, I know my limitations, but I don't have a limiting mindset. I don't say like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that, unless it's like a boundary. Unless it's a boundary. Because it's not that I fear what's going to happen when I put it down a boundary. Like some people nowadays, when you have a boundary, we were talking about this in the Regal Change Academy earlier in the Bible study, like how when you tell people no, sometimes people look at you like, you're telling me no? Yeah. How dare you? How dare you tell me no? You know, these kinds of people that they just get so caught up in like, I can't believe you told me now. That when you do this, they're like entitled to the yes. You know, these are people that are entitled to yeses, and it's perplexing to them to when you have a mind of your own and you're able to just be who you are. And, you know, no is a full sentence, right? Everybody knows that saying, but not very many people actually practice it. And something that I see a lot more successful people doing is than non-successful people. And my criteria for success is really just a life filled with meaning. You know, that's my criteria for success. Your criteria for success might look a little bit different. But the people that I see have a life filled with meaning. They know how to say no. They know how to live out that no too. They don't just say no. Oh, okay, or you broke me down. That's not the way that works. You know, when your yeses mean yes and your no's mean no, you're on the right track. But I think that what people are severely lacking right now is the ability to see that the system, whatever it is, however it's going to come, the mark of the beast system is here. Like the AI verification system is here. The government is shut down, right? Like we see the government shut down and people are like, oh, it's your fault. Oh, no, it's your fault. Oh, it's your fault. Come on, guys. See what's actually going on. I feel like I'm patiently waiting for people to just wake up at this point, because it's not, because in America right now, when the government shut down, and don't get me wrong, I love to see the government shut down. I don't mind it. And I don't think that we need all of the institutions within the government, or what are they called? Factions, I suppose you could say. The factions of the government that are open, that don't need to be open. I think we can close those. But they have the potential to use this government shutdown as a way, an ability to strip away our rights even more. And this is what people need to be more focused on. This is what people need to be more aware of. Not like, oh, whose fault is that? It's nobody's fault. Well, it is people's fault, but like, you know what I mean? It's nobody's fault per se, as far as like the show. It's a great show. Grab the popcorn. Oh, what's on the politics today? I mean, everybody's under mind control, man. Everybody's under mind control in America anyway, it seems like. Many people are. And I don't understand what it's going to take for people to wake up. I mean, we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who, isn't he been like an advocate for health and all that for the last 5 years, trying to call out people like Pfizer and all that? Yesterday, they're like praising each other, practically writing each other's you know what. And, right before the government shutdown, conveniently. And the goal was to, lower costs of drugs. Oh, we made these people sick. Well, I guess we can lower the cost now that we've, done the pandemic for the last 5 years. And then we have Donald Trump, who announced the AI verification last week. Okay, he announced it last week, where at the UN, the United Nations event, he's going to work with the UN and all the other countries to get this global AI verification system in that everybody can trust. Really? Come on, guys. I know it's a good show. I know you guys are really emotionally invested in it, but let's just take a step back and emotionally detach for just a second. Just a second, let's emotionally detach and look at what's actually going on. Because it seems to me like they're all kind of working together. Why would the Pfizer CEO agree to all of these cuts, and then he would choose to invest, what was it, $70 billion into the United States government, whatever, for funding this or funding that? Guys, I mean, this is weird. This is super weird. I mean, I get it. It's a good show, but this is all just so freaking fake. It's just so fake. I don't know what's actually going on. Let me be clear. I don't know what's actually happening, but it's very clear that we're being lied to. Okay, and then we have the whole Erica Kirk situation. And again, I'm not saying that it's her fault, per se, but you guys really believe that she forgave the murderer? Really? Okay, did you watch that? Look, if nobody's asking the question, is Charlie Kirk actually dead? There's no autopsies. Okay, we don't have an autopsy. There's no trace of blood at the scene. If you look at the videos, there's no trace of, there's all these questions that are still not being asked. TPUSA is officially under orders from the new CEO, Erica Kirk, who is also, by the way, the new Times Magazine top 100 most influential people of this year or whatever. You can't make this up, guys. We're literally watching a TV show, a really terrible show about a sad event that just looks completely fake. Something is very off. Something is very wrong. And we're supposed to believe that Erica Kirk and then I see people online that are it's turning everybody against each other, which is brilliantly designed, right? It's brilliantly designed. Because that's what I think. I think it's by design. How much of a design it is, I don't know. I think sometimes there's unintended consequences to things, but it's no doubt that, AI, I genuinely believe that AI is involved in some way, because Sam Altman is getting more into the creator, or one of the creators and engineers of the ChatGPT. He's getting more involved with the government and such. Elon Musk is now calling to cancel people, and I'm like, is this cancel culture, or are you guys just saying to cancel subscriptions to this? You guys are doing the same thing, and I doubt that Elon Musk is stupid enough to think that he's not doing that, or that he's accidentally doing. There's no way someone that rich and successful and smart can also think that he's not falling into a side, unless he's a part of it, which I'm not saying he is or he's not. I'm just saying that this whole thing stinks. And then at Charlie Kirk's memorial, we see Elon Musk and Trump best friends again. It's like high school. Oh, they broke up. Oh, the quarterback of the football team and the whatever. Oh, they were best friends. this being Donald Trump being the quarterback and Elon Musk being, I don't know, one of the wide receivers or something, I guess. Oh no, they broke up. Oh, now they're back together. Now they're on the same team again. Yeah. This is all like high school. It just seems all very strange. It just seems like theater to me. Because I think it is. I think it is theater. And again, I don't have any conclusions on what's going on. All I'm saying is that the solution here with the mark of the beast, because we know that Elon Musk has that chip that's going inside your brain for Neuralink, right? What's next? You know what? I mean, and he's even said if you can't beat them, join them, when he's talking about AI. And I've had dreams about Elon Musk. He's tried to recruit me in dreams, and he's trying to get me to join the dark MAGA. Okay? I don't think that's a coincidence either. Okay? It's all very weird. And I get it. Like, I get it. It's like this, like the truth, when you're actually in the truth and you're living the truth, you kind of seem like Darth Vader to everybody. Like, you kind of seem that way, but even though you're not, you're just like, oh yeah, that's what it is. And people go, their ideological subversion, reboot, I can't compute. Hey, that rhymed. Yeah, like the reboot, I can't compute. That's what the NPCs do. That's what they do. And what are we supposed to do? We're just supposed to like let this happen. You know, people say, oh, we don't have an alternative. Oh, we have to choose the lesser evil. Well, Donald Trump is the lesser evil. Well, I guess we have to choose. Okay, do we have to choose that? Do we have to choose the lesser evil? Is that really the only other option? Or maybe just another form of truth is the option? Because Plato talks a lot about forms, right? We were talking about Plato and Socrates and such. Plato talks a lot about forms. And I actually, in this book, I actually do talk about forms with Plato in one of my visions. One of the other reasons why I'm talking about it, because Plato had a very, I would say, impactful, well, just a big impact on my life, because I saw there was a truth to it that was deeper than just like ancient wisdom. It wasn't just ancient wisdom. It was like, there's a timeless truth here. And forms are forms, right? They're abstract formalities, basically. You know, there's a form of like the perfect cup. Even though we're not going to be able to see that perfect cup, there is a form idealistically of the perfect cup. And you can think about it as like, maybe in Platonic terms, it's not going to be this, but it's going to be like heavenliness, right? And people, they want to live out their ideals, but the problem is they want to live out their ideals so much that they don't even realize that they're living out their ideals. They're just living out these ideologies. Like Carl Jung said that people don't have ideas, ideas have people. And that's very true. That's a very, very apt description of what's happening and taking place, especially on like things right now. Like the mark of the beast will be here anytime. The mark of the beast is here. It's going to be here anytime. And it's our job as people to see the solution. And the solution, now that I've laid out all of the craziness, the solution is to stay up to date about what's going on. Don't get caught up into it though. Stay emotionally attached. And then also start forming communities. Okay, start doing things on your own. Start trying to be as independent from the system as possible. Because that's going to be what it's going to take. I mean, there's really no other option. We don't have another option. These people are not going to help us. And I don't want to say like we're on our own, because, and I don't want to say like, you know, nobody's going to help us, or nobody's going to save us. It's like, well, we can help each other. We can save each other to some degree, as far as seeing the light of Christ in one another, and seeing that that light of Christ is valuable enough to be seen. But it's not like we need to see each other's light so much so that we completely restrict ourselves from the truth. Like, we actually participate in this life. We actually live this life in accordance to what God wants us to. And it means creating our own communities. We cannot take these people seriously. I'm not going to legitimize. I didn't vote last year. Okay, I didn't vote for anybody, well, on the federal level. And the reason for that is because I didn't want to legitimize that part of the system, because I see it as flawed. I see it as very flawed. And I don't want to legitimize a system that's trying to rob me of my own livelihood and freedom. I don't believe Donald Trump has the best interests of the people. I think that's a lie. I think him being a patriot is a lie. I think it's a brilliant fabrication. That's just my opinion. I mean, take it for what it is. That's just my thoughts. I think the whole Erica Kirk thing is a lie. I don't buy one single breath that she's taken throughout this entire last few weeks. And I've tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. I've tried to see her and give him the benefit of the doubt. I've tried to put myself in her shoes. There's nothing about her that seems real to me. And especially the more I learn about her, like, have you guys seen this? Like the Snake Eyes movie, for example? It was like the Nicolas Cage movie where allegedly this Charles Kirkland, who's a senator, gets shot in the neck by a guy named Tyler. Okay, now is that predictive programming with MK Ultra, or is that actually, them, like, is that them tapping into some kind of weird satanic portal or whatnot? Like, is that prophetic? Like, okay, well, we'll leave that there. Then what about Erica Kirk's music video with She's My Kinda Crazy? Because she's going on a zip line down Fremont Street in Vegas in the video with 9/10, which is the date that Charlie Kirk was shot. Okay, oh, and by the way, in the movie Snake Eyes, Charles Kirkland was allegedly shot on September 10th. And then Wikipedia changed the date to like September 29th or something, or the 19th, whatever. Like, literally, as people were starting to figure it out just last week. So there's all these weird things happening. And then we see Erica Kirk not 2 weeks after her husband is shot, allegedly in front of her and her kids. She's going on podcasts talking about how excited she is. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I get that if it actually happened, you'd want to have the left, the enemy. The enemy within, as Donald Trump has talked about. That's another thing. Donald Trump talked about the enemy within. He's literally declaring war on the American people to some degree. And people will say, oh no, he's declaring war on the illegals. Okay, well then why is he advocating for the military to do trainings in the cities of the United States? Do you not see that this is like setting up for a potential martial law? Like, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that it could be leading up to that. And you conservatives are cheering for this. You conservatives are just ecstatic. But if it was Biden doing this, you guys would have a totally, completely different understanding of it. I don't get, like you guys are, because I'm not liberal. I don't like liberalism as in the modern day anyway. I don't like modern liberalism as much as the next conservative. But I'm not a political affiliated person. I don't have a political affiliation. And I don't have a religious affiliation. I just follow Christ. I'm just me. And people get upset with that. People don't understand that. And I'm just calling it how I see it, because the thing is like, I want to know who I can tell the truth to. Because if I can't tell the truth about how I see things, because I could be wrong. Sure, I could be wrong. But if I can't tell the truth about how I see things to people without them trying to see me as an enemy after that, then that means that they were an enemy to begin with. They weren't actually open to the truth. They were just wanting to be on the same team. When in reality, it's just God's team and everybody else. And God's team, it's not even about like the winning team or the losing team or whatever. It's just like, are you wanting the truth or do you not? It's not that difficult. It's just the way that it is. And I think that, Donald Trump talking about the whole, we're going to send the military to the U.S. cities. That just doesn't sit right with me, man. It just doesn't. When I heard that yesterday, I was like, I don't know about that. Because I understand that, there are, Antifa and all these things. I get it. But man, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And the way he's like blinging up the White House, what's that about? Like, he had a whole entourage of all the gold that's being put up in the White House, and how all these leaders are just marveled by the gold. And it's just like, Donald Trump's kind of acting like a pimp with all the money. Like, he's showing his bling, he's showing his bling everywhere. It's weird. Like, it's just weird to me. I don't understand how people are like, oh, well, at least he's him. Is he? I'm not convinced. I've never been convinced of that. And in 2020, I believed that I should have voted for the lesser of the two evils, right? But now I'm like, I was in a different frame of mind. I wasn't trying to have truth as my number one priority. And now truth is my number one priority. I don't care what the truth is. I just want to know what the truth is. I don't care how it's going to make me feel. I just want to know the truth. And the truth will set you free, right? But it's like, many people cannot let go of their illusions because they've attached their identity to these ideas or these frames of thinking, or like people, it's like the way people get attached to their career. Like, have you seen guys like that where, oh, well, I'm a CEO, I'm the manager of the, like they think that their identity matches with what they are. And that's one of the cool things about being artistic, because I love art. Like, I was playing the guitar earlier today, and I was just playing some random tunes and just kind of strumming along, playing how I feel, because that's what I do whenever there's emotion inside of me that I can't quite put into words. I just start to play the guitar, and that's been happening a lot more frequently. And I've also been writing a lot more poems recently too. I've been writing a lot of poems, and the form of creativity that I've gotten and that I've really been able to manifest, it's just by appreciating the small things in life. Like, I'm aware of all these other things, but what's crazy is being able to appreciate the small things makes you more grounded, and you're able to like see through the BS of the world so much easier. And you can just look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's BS. You're not like emotionally enraged by it. And because sometimes righteous indignation is called for. But when I look at this, it's the craziness of the world. I just think to myself, yeah, that's BS. Yeah, that's BS. I call BS. when in my, like, I'm not attached to it. And I don't care about the simulation. Because when I say the simulation, what I really mean is whatever kind of play of history that they want us to believe. Because here's the thing, there's like the play of history that they want us to believe in this circle, and then in this circle it's like what's actually going on in history, and then in this circle it's like what could be going on in history and in the spirit of the time, but it's always ever changing. Like what the content in each circle is ever changing. Sometimes, anyways, in that first circle with the play. Like if you think about North Korea, for example, North Korea is a classic example of like, Kim Jong-un is like a god to them, right? And they don't ever want to change that. They don't ever want to change that because then the whole communist thing would fall. And communism is something that I think the mark of the beast will use communism as a form of expansion for it. But the thing is like, according to scripture, like if you read Revelation, it seems to me like, because it's kind of a complex book to read, Revelation, it really is. But when it seems to me like if you read it and you're actually going through, the whole book, especially the point in which the mark of the beast is being talked about, right? It seems very clear that you have the choice to take it or not. They're not going to force you. Like they can't force you to take it. But what they can do is they can take away things if you choose not to take it. Like you don't have to take it. Like you're not going to be forced to take it, but stuff is going to happen to you if you don't, right? Because that's just the way that Satan is going to come in with the mark of the beast, right? That's just the way that it's going to be. And so I don't plan on taking that thing. I didn't take okay, I didn't take that. I fought back against the masks as well, spiritually speaking, not like actually fighting, but with the masks in the pandemic, I didn't wear those. I turned down a job that wanted me to get the I turned down a job that would give me significantly more money. I've been through the fire. I've been through the flames. If the mark of the beast comes and it's do or die, I'm ready. And that's, one of the reasons why I started off with what I read here in my book. So with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful for you. We got this. Yeah, don't be hindered by the craziness of the world. It's definitely crazy, and it feels like we're living in crazy times, but just see through the BS. Like, actually do your research and stop thinking so much, man. Like, start being more. Have a sense of playfulness in your life. I play racquetball almost every day now with some guys at the gym. And then we don't play for very long, it's like half an hour. And then I go for a run afterward, and then I lift weights, and then I stretch and do my ab workout and such. Maybe hit the sauna afterward, nothing crazy. But I'm there at the gym for like 2.5 hours, 3 hours usually. But that like 30 minutes of racquetball, man, I love sports. I love playing sports. I like that slight competitive edge that you get and that kind of adrenaline rush and the testosterone boost, because the people that I'm playing with, they take it sincerely, man. Like, they're no joke. These guys are in their 50s and 60s, I think, but holy crap, do they know how to play. Like, they know how to play racquetball. And it's amazing, It's really cool because I have a lot of things to learn from them. And it's fun to play. We've all retained that childlike quality within us, because in the Bible it says you can't enter into the kingdom of heaven unless you're like a child. And I've retained that childlike wonder, like even with my poems, my creativity. Of course I'm doing my work. Of course I'm, staying caught up with the times, but I'm whole. Okay, I'm not one way or the other too much. I am expressing myself to the totality. The women that are interested in me, like I talked about earlier, the women that are interested in me, if I have one that I want to talk to, I'll talk to her. I'm not like, oh, I'm on semen retention, so I shouldn't talk to a woman. No. I'm just going with the flow. I don't take everything so rigidly. I just don't do that. I'm not about that life. I'm more of a kind of person that I want to flow, and I like spontaneity. I like healthy spontaneity. I like to be free. I like to feel like I can do what I want when I want for the most part. I like to feel like I can be me at any point in time. Like, of course, there's times where you just have to be professional and cordial with people, but it doesn't need to be that serious, man. It doesn't need to be that serious. These people that are so caught up with the craziness of the world, they're so emotional when they look at this stuff. They're so emotional when it comes to politics. Like, I get tired just watching you guys. Like, I get tired. I'm like, oh, it must be exhausting to be you, bro. It must be exhausting to be you, sis. Like, y'all are like way too caught up in this. You guys are so emotional about it. Your life revolves around this. Like, I get, being caught up with everything. You want to know what's going on. Absolutely. But what what are you talking about? That's not my life. It's not my life. My life is godlike mastery mindset. My life is Jesus Christ. My life is reading the Bible, having that community with the RCA, the Real Change Academy. It's like you guys, a lot of you guys just get so caught up in the world and you don't even know you're in the world. And I get it. I understand what that's like. I know I've been there. And it's not to say that you can't ever be deceived and whatnot, or that I can't ever be deceived, because absolutely it's possible. And if we are in the end of times, which I don't think we are just yet, but like the mark of the beast looks like it's going to be here any time now. I don't see how you can think that. Just with the kind of technology we have, it just seems imminent, But life is still good. And I know life is going to be good. If I have to say no to the mark of the beast, I'm going to say no. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hold the line. And I'll be going to my death knowing that I lived the truth. I said a while back, if I ever die, I hope that people don't ask how I died. I mean, that's a good question, don't get me wrong, but I hope the more important question is, how did he live? How did he live? And this is something I think we ought to look at for everybody. How they died is important, yes, but what's more important is how they lived. And I can die and I can face my death knowing that I spoke the truth, I lived the truth to the best of my ability. And of course, I'm not perfect, but man, I've enjoyed my life. I enjoy my time with Jesus Christ. I love my life so much that I don't need a vacation every time. Like every month, people, oh, I can't wait for Friday. You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait for my active rest day to be done so I can actually do things. Because I have to take like an active rest. I have to be actively resting. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to rest. Because I just like to I'll burn myself out if I don't actively rest. So I look forward to that day. And it's the Day of Atonement. So remember your afflictions. Remember those past, but also remember to be grounded in Jesus and remember what he did for us. So with all that being said, peace until next time.